Did you know that Modern Witches has a Patreon community? There, you can join us at 2 tiers of paying membership and access our monthly coven circles, which are live online gatherings where we discuss our witchcraft and practice magic together and tune into what it means to be a modern witch at this deeply important planetary moment. We're so excited to be dropping a new Patreon exclusive, which are our mini magic episodes. These will feature practical magic, folklore, history of the craft, as well as ways to deepen your engagement and awareness of witchcraft in this precarious time. We hope to see you there, and if you aren't subscribing to the podcast, please do so now. Your comments, your reviews, they all mean so much to us. Find links to join our Patreon community in the show notes. Blessed be. Hello and welcome to the Modern Witches podcast. I am here today with my co-host Mariana. Hello.
Hello, Casey. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. We are missing Karima this week, but she'll be back. And we're here to discuss Cancer season. Cancer season begins with a bang with the summer solstice. And there's, a lot of powerful shifts this season, it feels like, and opportunities to really sink deeper into our vulnerabilities, I would say. And that's what Cancer season is kind of about. I always have to wring myself out after Cancer season. I don't know about you.
I'm actually very excited about this Cancer season because we record this during Gemini season, and we know what Gemini season stands for. It's that mutation of what has been established further. So it's very like walking through a sand or like change in circumstances that feels like, yeah, we know what needs to change, but are we changing that already? Are we in the phase of a cardinal? So I'm always looking forward to a cardinal season after mutable season, because especially Cancer, because it's so embodied and it's so like soul centered, and the deep sense of belonging to the path that you meant to walk on centered. No wonder that Jupiter is exalted here, because it's only through the roots and through coming back to the origin, places of your origin, that the truth can be sort of discovered. So
I love that.
Look forward to this season.
When I was preparing for this episode, I kept having the image of the hermit crab and like the hermit crab scuttling on the sand and looking for its new shell home. And I think there's really something about, the season and Jupiter moving into Cancer this season, and how we're kind of all in this process of feeling into belonging in our own personal way and on a collective scale in a massive way. And like, what does it mean to find belonging in a way that isn't extractive or exploitative? Like it's more rooted in what you were saying, this soul driven sense of belonging.
Yeah, 100%. I do always love a Cancer season, though it brings up a lot generally for many. But the presence of Jupiter here is, it has two sides to it, though. We're going to talk about it, I guess, because there's always a shadow side in the form of hyper patriotism, or I would even say possibility of extremism when it comes to homeland issues, or like
as we're seeing.
Yes, all of that. So just being very mindful about the usage of energies, and again, with astrology, it's a free will. It's how you channel this energy and how you choose to understand it that determines. what happens, I guess.
Totally. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. Important to remember that as you're exploring your magical practice, remembering that um, these energies that we're talking about, they're not like dictating what's happening, but really they're
Mm-hmm.
just ways for you to access meaning in your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
But let's begin with summer solstice. The sun ingress into Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I can pull up the chart here.
Okay. It's on June 20th. We have the summer solstice this year.
Yes. And I pulled a card
Mm-hmm.
for the summer solstice, and not being funny, I pulled the sun.
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
So the sun archetype in the tarot is very much this energy of rebirth, I would say. But a rebirth to our innocence, a rebirth to our inner child, a rebirth to what I like to call like the simple pleasures that we
Mm-hmm.
often take for granted as we move through our lives in the world. Um, it's like coming back into solar devotion, solar worship. And I think the summer solstice is a holiday that is a really beautiful reminder of what gives us life, like what sustains us
Mm-hmm.
here. All of us, all people need sun and
Mm-hmm.
water, and the earth needs that in order to
Yeah.
exist and sustain. And it's a beautiful time to just really find a way to meditate on that, to honor that in whatever way feels right to you. Um, but I would say doing things that make you feel your
Mm-hmm.
humanity
Mm-hmm.
in a super visceral way, like swimming, putting your feet on the earth barefoot, gardening, looking at the clouds, like whatever it is that like reminds you that you exist in an ecosystem with
Yeah.
other people, with plants and animals. Like that's what summer solstice is about, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's during that, and it's so interesting, like the whole Earth symbolism, because the chart of the solstice moon is in Taurus at 0 degrees as well,
Yeah,
sextile
it's
the
beautiful.
sun in Cancer. So we have an exalted moon, we have sun in Cancer, we have Jupiter, and we'll talk about it, also in
Mhm.
Cancer, exalted. So the chart, and Mars is very strong in Virgo. So the whole chart speaks about potential and opportunity to to make choices and to act upon the choices that revitalize your, like your purpose, your spirit, your desire for life, your ambition, anything that you want to do. Because again, it's a cardinal season, it's a season to begin. It's not the one to sit, wait and see. It's a very, very action oriented Cancer season, and the action in Cancer season happens through connection to the emotional undercurrents of your desires. So why you want to do something that you want to do, why does it stir things in you, what is, like, no matter what desire you have, what purpose that desire serves deep within you. Once you like navigate that connection, you like understand the connection, that anything that you want, any purpose that you have, it has to be emotionally fortified from within.
Mm.
If it makes
Yeah,
sense.
I have to mention it because you're so beautifully speaking into it, but it's like really recalling the archetype of the chariot in the
Mm-hmm.
tarot, which is ruled by Cancer.
Yeah.
And I think it's a confusing one for folks to like put um the two archetypes kind of together, but it is this really this soul drive, it's like your
Cardinal.
arrows,
It's
cardinal.
very cardinal.
Exactly. And it's important to note that these cardinal seasons um start are like in alignment with the solstices.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it's this push of energy, like a peak of energy.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's a great time, therefore, in terms of manifestation work, manifestation
Mhm.
practices you might be doing, to really think about and reconnect with, I guess, what your soul
Yeah.
is craving and what actually nourishes your soul and your spirit.
Mhm. Yeah. And
And this is,
it's
yeah.
safety centered very much.
Hmm.
So because we like, I think we misinterpret safety greatly. So there is no
Yeah.
safety in stagnation ultimately. And I think
No.
we collectively, finally, we've been arriving to this moment for like last, what, 5, 6 years.
Hmm.
But only now this year, I feel we really like bone deep understand that this holding on or not making radical changes, no, there's no safety in that. The safety, Jupiter in Cancer, the true safety is an exploration
Mm.
of what could
I love
be.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's, it's important to acknowledge like our drive towards evolution, to
Mm-hmm.
change and how important that is. And I think systems like astrology can really highlight that for us or help us accept this process of evolution that we're currently in. And
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping this season we all sort of kind of can really sink into an authentic expression of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Very interesting. And one last thing I want to mention,
Mhm.
because it's a moon ruled season, what I've noticed that during Cancer season, a lot of the themes related to the nodes of the current transit of the nodes of the moon become even more highlighted.
Mm,
So because it's the nodes of the moon, they're this like the nodes of the moon are currently in Pisces and in Virgo, and they are nodes of the moon, and Cancer is moon ruled. So it is during the Cancer season that this dynamic between the service and the healing dynamic and relationship with health and like spirituality, your practice, all those things, and the balancing of those themes will be even more highlighted during Cancer season.
love that. Yeah, I mean, also, I'm glad that you brought the moon in. It's Cancer season. Summer is such a beautiful time for moon worship practices for those of us who like live in colder places. So like spend time with the moon this summer, spend time with the moon this Cancer season, and yeah, just
Mm.
say
It
hi.
affects it does something to this earthly realm for sure, the moon.
Totally. Yeah. And it does something to our body. The moon is for me, it's been a very like protective entity that I've been able to like work with.
Mm.
So if you are feeling your vulnerabilities, maybe take them to the moon and see how the moon might support you with that work.
Mm.
Okay,
What else?
so solstice happens, and just 2 days later, as the sun is making this ingress into Cancer, it makes
Mhm.
a couple of important transits
Mhm.
to both Saturn and Neptune in Aries.
Yeah. Wow.
So on June 22nd, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, on June 22nd it squares Saturn, and on
Mhm.
June 23rd it squares Neptune in Aries. So it's like those 22nd and 23rd. Sun
Yes.
is having this cardinal face off with this newly ingressed Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Uh, when I see a Saturn square, whatever, like Sun, Saturn, or any other planet, but in this case, Sun, Saturn square, I'm like, what is the task placed upon us? And the task placed upon us is within the Saturn placement in order to fulfill the Sun in Cancer duty or the what we're meant to do here during this season or anything initiated during this season is connected with Saturn in Aries. And like a challenge is doing things differently in this dynamic. And Saturn in Aries, it's a fear of acting. It's a cardinal fear of taking an action the way you have never taken action before, or like doing things differently. It is overcoming that fear, and it's also tempering your desire for instant gratification or quick results, because something here tells us from the beginning, you gotta move slowly. You can't rush into things with this square. It's the first of what, 3 squares we're gonna have between Sun in Cancer and Saturn in Aries for the next few years. So yeah, just like working, the challenge is Saturn in Aries. So Saturn in the sign that self-expresses and initiates. So the challenge is initiating in the way that is not disruptive to your security, but also can get you out of certain like narrative that hasn't led you anywhere. So it's kind of pivoting, but again, it's going to make us uncomfortable, but whether you will act on that or not, it's up to you.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting. I've just noticed as I've been tracking cycles, like there's oftentimes these tests that come right after an opportunity for affirmation of like some quality or of some goal or vision. Then there's a test. And this feels like one of those moments where it's like solstice, possibility, like reconnection with your soul, drive, and purpose. And then there's a test, this Saturn square sun, which is saying, are you sure that's how you're going to do it? Like, what is the most sustainable way to move forward? And I think, we all have versions of like urgency that we're working with. And this is a moment that's kind of saying, like, is that the wisest way? It feels like a question mark. And I think if you feel resistance in something, that's important to explore.
100%. Yeah, I love that. One question that can arise, are you up for this responsibility?
Right.
Are you
It's
up?
a good question.
It's because Sun is recognition. It's something, especially like it's approaching Jupiter here, and it's cardinal, and it's connected to creation, a new cycle that's connected to safety and stability, but it requires taking certain level of responsibility on your end. The question is, the first question is, are you up to take this responsibility? And the second question, with Mars and Virgo, do you have energy for that? Do you have a capacity to do that? Actual, just physical capacity to take this on? Time-wise,
So important.
health-wise, all that stuff. So asking yourself that is going to be so important, and be real with yourself. And if you are up for taking certain kind of responsibility and challenge, you have to draw very clear boundaries of that capacity, where it starts and where it ends. Because Mars and Virgo, rule of the Saturn, the burnout will be inevitable if you do not do that, because by the end of this Cancer season, Mars will conjunct South Node, and we'll see, do we have any energy to spare or not to go forward.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good note. Like, I think Cancer season for me is often a note to like reaffirm self-care practices. And I think this Cancer season especially is going to be important for that. Yeah. But so we have this Sun square Saturn, and then just a day later, the Sun will square Neptune, which is a different kind of ego challenge, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like, I don't have energy, but I want to be a hero.
But my idea was really good.
Yes, but what I want to do matters. So even
Yes.
if I'm going to burn out, I'm going to step into the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Visions of
That's,
grandeur.
yes.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting though. I think like it's like reality hits and then there's like a psychic hit.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like I feel like I want to say be careful of like over indexing on like giving too much meaning to your failures, like feeling really like torn down in the moment.
Yeah,
Like
that's important.
there's failures that just like have to happen for you to reorient. And it doesn't mean your whole principle or idea or belief system is bad.
Yeah.
Like it just needs to be reassessed or you need a different perspective.
Hmm.
Um,
Such a good point. It's a
yeah.
very good point that because this two squares in a row, they can really drown or burn that sun out of faith in oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to, again, like everything here is temper oneself, to be steadfast. Steadfastness is the key, I feel like, this year overall. If you do that, if you embrace this like slow progress approach, things, and not making assumptions and just taking like you said, failures as just little signs of refinement,
Mm-hmm.
that would be really good.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good day to kind of take a break,
Hmm.
maybe, and turn to some kind of devotional practice that can fortify you,
Hmm.
if it feels accessible, like being in nature or, lighting candles, like prayer, a creative action, like do something that like feels soothing.
Hmm. Yeah, with Neptune, anything spiritual always has to be in order for it not to become delusional.
Yeah.
Anything that you do not set any concrete plans, earthly plans, into motion on this day, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not really for that. It's a very contemplative energy, and especially it's just a day before the Jupiter Cazimi we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But Jupiter, when it's just before the Cazimi, it's burned by the sun. So the higher principles are not effective here yet. So there's like not, it might feel like what for, or hopeless, like some hopelessness being stirred. Just for me, it's always like leaning into like a spiritual practice that gives me a sense of peace. But whatever
Mm-hmm.
works for you,
Yeah. I
lean
mean,
into, yeah, that.
I think we got to mention too that like Mercury is squaring Chiron on this day.
Yeah.
Um, so our faces are both like, oh, um, but yeah, I think so, I think when we have Mercury, um, communicating in like a combative way, the square with Chiron, there's a way in which our wounds are like bubbling to the surface,
Yeah.
and are seeking expression. So again, like a note to be more tender, more cautious, especially because Mercury is in Cancer,
Hmm.
and Chiron's in Aries, and that Chiron
So
in Aries stinks. It's been kind of sharp. I don't know if you've
it's been on
noticed.
my ascendant for 3 years. I'm so
Ouch. I'm
over
so
it. I
sorry.
can't. I'm like, right now, Venus is on, Saturn is on my Venus with Neptune, like within half a degree, and Chiron is on my Saturn. I'm like,
Get
this
out of
is
there.
this is so, but the thing is, it's difficult, but I think this has been the most rewarding, difficult transit I've ever had in my life.
Hmm. You're really doing Saturn,
I'm I'm not disliking Saturn in Aries thus far, if I'm honest.
Great.
And I have in the first 3 degrees Venus and Sun.
Yeah.
I do not dislike it so far because it's sort of I don't know, maybe it's my personal experience, but it's not doing, it's doing strategy to me more than anything. It's not doing like other things, because I don't know why, maybe it will come later with the retrograde, but I'm like, oh, this is just organizing me in the ways that I haven't been organizing.
I love that
I love that.
way of looking
So,
at it, you know?
so for
That's
everyone
good.
who is fearful of this transit, for someone who is experiencing it as we speak, it's not bad if you lean into the higher octave of Neptune, which is spirituality, and you do not give too much power to the earthly little distractions. And then you organize yourself in the earthly very, very well. It's going to be okay.
Good advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's look at this Cazimi, Jupiter
Oh,
Cazimi in
oh,
Cancer
yes.
at 3 degrees of
It's
Cancer.
so good.
I know, and the moon is like coming in. We have a new moon right after.
Yeah, it's like actually hold on, I'm also looking when the exact, oh no, moon is still in Gemini when the Cazimi is exact, but nevertheless,
Yeah.
um, what do we see about this? So it's Cazimi ruled by the moon in the last degrees of, is it in still, moon is in Gemini, right?
Yeah, moon is in Gemini. Let's see.
Yeah, in the moment, yes, I think it's in Gemini. Yeah.
Gonna get there. Gonna get there. Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah,
It's in Gemini. So the
early.
ruler of the Cazimi is a choice, is a point of choice. For me, Moon in Gemini, being ruler of such a prominent, and like it's once every 12 years that we have Jupiter Cazimi in every sign. So in Cancer, it's going to be next time in like 11 years. So 11, 12 years. So, and with Moon in Gemini, for me, it's always about the fork in the road. This Cazimi is about the fork in the road being eliminated towards the direction that is more aligned for you. Because the moon is at the last degrees of Gemini, it's going through the degrees where Jupiter has been after a year of indecision, nothing sticking to the wall, nothing really like manifesting or coming to fruition. Jupiter in Gemini, like Casey and I were spoke earlier, was icky.
Yeah,
It was
it was.
really icky. It was like so much expectation and no real nothing
No real
really.
there. What happened? You know, it
No,
was just
no,
like so many open windows.
so
It
many
felt like.
open windows and just wind coming in.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing was sticking is a great
No,
way to put that. I think a lot of people who like have businesses will really relate to that feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been like lots of ideas, nothing sticking, but because there are so many of them, and we haven't been very clear about what is the thing that we want to do. All of us are in this, not, I'm not gonna say all of, but a lot of the people are in this, like, I don't know which direction is the direction. Which thing is really expensive, which thing will take me where I'm meant to go, not like what is expected of me or what even I expect of myself, but what is the fulfilling thing. Can we
Right.
just, it's like it can be as delusional as it may be, but can we just understand what it is? But we have hard time understanding what it is.
Totally.
That's like a thing. And here we are at this sort of like last stage of this fork in the road, but the clarity might be arriving on that day and the day after that, because moon will, or like that the same day, moon will move into Cancer as well. It will be moon at home, Jupiter exalted. We're out of the fork in the road.
Yeah, this is a powerful reset moment. You know, Kazimis are akin to new moons for like that planetary body that's having contact with the sun. And so, you know, you think about Jupiter and you think about your personal philosophy, your relationship with religion. Like this is sourcing something very deep, very foundational within you. And also your relationship to home, especially in the sign of Cancer here. So again, like I think that there's like some powerful messages to tune into and to notice at this time about your roots and where you're putting them and how nourished they are at this point.
And if it was just, for example, moon and sun on new moon in Cancer or something like that, but with Jupiter in Cancer, where you put your roots is not just a place, but how that place is gonna unravel your story or tell your story, how that place, that home or the idea of home can be supportive in telling your story or not. So choosing home or leaning into the idea of home that is not just a place, but an environment, people, goals.
Right.
It's more than a home with this Cazimi. It's a home that pulls you into a new chapter.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move this chart to the new moon, which is just a day later, when we actually see the moon. Oh, too bad. We actually see the moon sitting here with the sun and Jupiter. Okay. So this new moon is at 4 degrees of Cancer. Jupiter sits at 3 degrees. It just something about this makes me, I don't know. It just makes me feel hopeful.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. It's sort of like making up your mind, making up your heart more so. New moon. We've made up our hearts. It's where we're gonna go. Because this is that actual beginning of the Cancer season for me. This is sort of like, oh right, we are going cardinal now. We are going, and it's sort of like we'll take risks because they're not mentally, like risks that are mentally informed are never good. They're never good risks, but the risks that are heart-centered are really good.
Yeah, I think that feels right.
It feels like that heart-centered risk, sort of like this is what will give us the purpose and the roots and the home, this risk.
So real. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that I don't know, I'm just, as I'm sitting with this, I'm just feeling into it. It feels like this new moon is really excellent for spell work. So if that's something that you do as part of your practice, I would really consider creating a sigil, doing some candle work that involves water as well, and definitely practicing some type of grounding or rooting work, whether that be gardening, whether that be like energetically tuning in to your root system, finding a way to ground whatever you're experiencing, and especially grounding like the Jupiterian blessings that you might be feeling in the moment, or calling those in. It would be, I think, very powerful, especially because I see that we have Vesta over here. This asteroid Vesta is forming a trine to this lumination.
And Mars sextiling as well.
Yes. So and Vesta is an asteroid that's very much about a devotional practice, like a sustained devotional practice. And Jupiter, relates to religion and spirituality. So committing to something that is maybe like a full lunar cycle long as part of an action or a manifestation or just like a creative project, I think would be interesting to do at this moment.
Yeah. And I don't really work with Vesta. I don't know much about it. A little. I know that it's a hearth kind of energy. Yeah, and it's I like that there's this like bisextile. What do you say? Bisextile in English?
Sextile.
Like two sextiles, so double sextile.
Yeah.
Sextile to Mars, and Mars pulls this carriage, sort of, so to speak, of the new moon and Vesta.
Yeah.
Mars pulls the carriage, so Mars in Virgo, sort of like this. It's again through cultivation of courage to do what is essential, not to do everything that you're been told or you think you should do. It's sort of like really focusing, because I do like Cancer new moons because it's not like, oh, I'm gonna do it all. It's sort of, I'm gonna do what matters. And this Mars and Virgo is also reaffirms that. It's like, you're gonna do what matters. You're gonna be selective about what you do.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. You're not gonna spread yourself too thin. Saturn and Neptune there squaring this too. It's a separate and square, thank God, but it's still there. So it's kind of like you have this amount of energy only for what matters. It's going to emphasize that. So remove everything else.
I love it. It's a beautiful new moon. I really hope everyone enjoys it and takes advantage of it in some way,
I like that too. It has beautiful energy. Okay. What do we have next?
Next, just a couple days later, we have Mercury moving into Leo.
I have so many friends. It's not even funny with Mercury in Leo.
Really? Nice.
I really do. It's, I don't know what is it, but people with Mercury in Leo surround me a lot. I do have
Do
a
they
lot
have
of
a dramatic way of expressing themselves?
You know what's interesting? I wouldn't say that. They're very generous people.
Oh, yeah.
Very, like, in general, throughout my life, I have like a lot of Leos around me, always. And specifically, one here. Yes. It's like interesting. Like I've noticed with like this placement is generosity, and it's like if they sense that you are not stingy with your vibes, they will give you twice more of their vibes.
I love it.
Whatever the vibes are. I mean, like energy, things, experiences. It's like they're like, if they sense that you're like given from the heart, words or time or whatever, they want to give you more.
That's so
and
sweet.
it's
I love that.
so like, it's almost like children, like when they like you, they're like, take this toy, like they want to like offer you so much.
Yes.
I love that.
I feel like that's a really a nice thing for Cancer season too, because I feel like there's like, Cancer, when maybe it's feeling like scared or vulnerable in some way, it can like shut down and be like almost too protective. But like a Mercury in Leo with this generosity of spirit is like, no, come out, it's okay. Like let's explore, let's have fun, let's play,
let's share. It's very share. What not spoken about any Leo placements is how sharing oriented they can be. I find.
I feel like that makes sense.
Not with everyone. It's very selective. It's not like, but with the right people, it's very, very much.
Yeah. We don't do gatekeeping.
No. No. It's sort of like, if I like you, we're gonna share like
Mhm.
stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's real.
Yeah, so Mercury in Leo, like, find ways to share your ideas, your creative ideas. Find like-minded people. Find um, people who can support you with their words, with their like contributions.
Mhm.
It's a
I
good
love
time to
that.
share what you have in your heart, and you want to share, like, and you want to take it to the next level, or bring this creative idea to life, or something like that.
And we should mention that Leo will be going retrograde in, or sorry, Mercury will be going retrograde in Leo on July 17th through August 11th. So
Yeah.
this will be a theme that we'll be exploring greatly.
Yes, and just as a note, the pre-shadow starts on June 29th.
Good to know.
Yes. It's good that I prepared this 2025 transits. They're
Yes,
always in my document here,
it's good.
hovering somewhere.
Okay, so, just a few days later, on the 28th, Mercury will form this opposition to Pluto, which is sitting at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So it's just something to note, as things are going into Leo, they're always going to make this opposition to Pluto in these early degrees. So this is this like deepening of this mercurial energy. And I like to remind folks that Mercury is one of the only gods, or Hermes Mercury is one of the only gods who can journey to the underworld and back. So this is space that Mercury is like comfortable going, and it's an impulse that is wise to explore, to kind of tune into what your unconscious is doing, what that landscape looks like, and bring something to the surface that can support you, whether it's like integration work, soul work, therapeutic work, healing work. It's all good to do at this time.
100%. Yeah, and I always think about Pluto as a hidden resource, and the position of very, very relational always. It's always about a relationship of sorts. So communicate something, because you do not know what this overcoming of fear or overcoming of something, because again, it all brings us to Sun. It brings us, like, the Mercury in Leo is ruled by Sun in Cancer, so there is a need to get out of the like comfort zone and communicate something in order to, I don't know, it feels very much tapping into either an idea or a community with this Pluto and Aquarius, that if you get out of the comfort zone, you can stumble upon the hidden wealth.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, that wraps up our part 1 of Cancer season for this episode. And we'd love to hear what you think, questions, feedback. Wishing you a beautiful summer solstice to all who celebrate. And thank you, Mariana, for being with me.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, everyone. Happy Cancer season.
Happy Cancer season.
Thank you for tuning in to the Modern Witches podcast. We hope you've been inspired to cultivate your own magic and to craft your own spiritual practices. Let us know what sparked your curiosity by leaving us a comment on this episode, or leave us a review. And don't forget to subscribe to the show so that you never miss an episode. Your feedback and engagement truly fills our cups. If you're looking for more ways to gather with your fellow witches, please support our work on Patreon. Learn more at modernwitches.org. Blessed be.